What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Dingers with the Boys after a 1 week off hiatus, I guess.
It honestly kind of felt weird being off. I was itching to do one, but we ran out of time. We went to Oklahoma. We went to the Oklahoma-Tennessee game. We got our buddy Mel. He's actually been on a podcast episode before, back when we were not doing video, but he's a big Tennessee fan. We went with Mel and Steve, and man, it was a blast. It was a quick little trip, just a couple days, but
we talked about doing one on the way, like in the car, but we kind of thought about it too late. So honestly, that would have been kind of fun.
I think we were all pretty tired that last day.
It would have been interesting to see how
it was. It was about a 10-hour drive, a little bit longer with stops, but.
Yeah, but we had a blast, so that's pretty much what we're going to talk about. That was over a week ago now. But we went down for the Tennessee-Oklahoma game.
Yes.
Tennessee ended up winning, which was awesome. You know, the first quarter, I don't know exactly, but it seemed like there was like 80 yards total offense between the two teams. It was just like nothing. Honestly, it might not even have been that much, to be honest.
Yeah. Honestly, I was nervous watching Tennessee too, because I think for sure that first quarter Oklahoma looked like the better team. They didn't look like an amazing team. Like, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, like Oklahoma is.
But they actually got a couple first downs. I don't know if Tennessee even got a first down technically in that first quarter.
They might have got like one or two, but and then like a crazy play. Oklahoma forced a fumble inside like the 10-yard line.
I think it was inside the 5 even. I think it was at like the 2-yard line. They forced a fumble. So it was first and goal from like the 2.
Yeah. So it's like, as soon as that happened, I think they were already up by 3. And you're like, man, like, you can just punch it in, and now all of a sudden you're up 10. Or
you thought at least a field goal or something.
Yeah.
And then
literally the very next play. Fumble, and Tennessee recovers. And I don't know if I've ever seen something like that.
And it happened twice.
Yes.
Oklahoma got a turnover, and the very next play, Tennessee got a turnover back.
Yep.
Twice in that game.
It's just like, oh my God. I like I said, like, I don't even know if I've seen that happen once.
Yeah.
Let alone twice.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
such a, impactful points of the game where,
especially that touchdown, it could have been. I mean, that could have completely switched it.
Completely switches the game,
because that would have gotten all the fans in it. Yep. Well, after they lost it again, the fans kind of just
Tennessee, I think, was able to capitalize. I think they got a score off of. They didn't get a score off of the very first fumble. I remember that, but
second one they did.
The second one they did. That was because it was right at midfield.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they ended up getting a touchdown out of that, and I think that was the kind of turning point. And then for the majority of the game from then on, it kind of just seemed like Tennessee was in the driver's seat.
I think after the first quarter, even though I think it was still 0-0 at that time. I don't think anybody scored in the first quarter. I can't remember.
It might have been,
but it might have been 3-0 or something. But after the first quarter, I felt like Tennessee pretty much had it in control.
Yeah.
Even when Oklahoma came back in the fourth a little bit, I was just like, I really wasn't that worried. But unfortunately, it really wasn't that great of a game.
Not really.
I mean, I'm glad Tennessee won, but it wasn't. I was wanting a really exciting game or something like that, which it wasn't. And the big thing, too, I think, for Oklahoma, they switched their quarterback right before the half. Yep. And their backup, I don't know if he ended up playing this week or not. I'm sure he did.
He did.
He played great
for
him.
It seemed like you could tell, first few drives, it took a little bit to, start clicking, but he looked like he was a lot more mobile. He could get out of the pocket and evade. Tennessee has a great pass rush, I believe, and he was able to get away from that. And once that happens, it just spreads out the whole entire field, and you're able to hit receivers downfield. And it was opening Tennessee a lot, and they couldn't quite figure it out. But because of because of Tennessee's lead that they built, they kind of were
couldn't get
they almost we're still in control.
Took the foot off the gas a little bit, it seemed, but it really wasn't they were never up by that much or like that dominant either. It just felt like they were going to win.
I think it's because like Tennessee really didn't have a great running game the whole entire game. They had a few like explosive runs that got some big plays, but how they really moved the ball was passing, and Nico, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name.
Quarterback for Tennessee.
But yeah.
Yeah, it was fun though. What was your favorite part of like the game? Not necessarily the game play, but just like the atmosphere we were in. So not necessarily the stadium, but like the atmosphere. Like what would say your favorite? Because I have one thing that I thought was really cool.
I really loved they did like a drone show, and I'm sure this isn't every single week, but they had a drone show as well as the marching band on the field. The marching band on the field, that is a every week kind of thing, which I love
think the drone thing
But the drone show, that was my first drone show I've ever seen. So I thought that was really cool.
I think that was because it was their very first SEC game ever too. So they kind of, because they did that picture, I don't know what they call it, but like the 360 picture or whatever that you see on pictures and everything. So we'll be in that. If anybody ever buys one, we'll be in that. Oklahoma's first SEC game. Steve will not be. He went down to the bathroom, and
I think
we told Steve, we're like, Steve, it's at the end of the first quarter. And he leaves with like 30 seconds left of the first quarter. It's like, Steve, you're going to miss it. And then he came back, and we tell him, oh, we told you. Like, if you waited another 2 minutes, you would have been. But
what was your favorite thing?
I thought it was awesome before the game. Like all the people to the White Stripes song. I can't remember what the song is called, but they go like, you. Like that's so they all did this for like an and then like you, and they did that for a while, and it was everybody. I thought that was really
cool.
That just it kind of got me excited and stuff, you know.
And I think like Oklahoma, the players like came out like guns blazing too, but it was really cool. That was one of the first times I've got to see a home field crowd have like their own unique chants, I guess.
Well, like that thing, I've never seen something like. There's other stuff like it, but that was cool, you know. The Boomer Sooner, like that chant.
Yeah.
I got sick of it by the end. However, I think that's pretty cool because there's one side Boomer, the other one yells Sooner, and they just kept going back and forth, and it was cool.
Man, it was the very first time they did that though. Like the crowd was literally shaking.
Yeah, it was loud. It was loud. Stuff, you know. The carriage ride. It's not a carriage ride, but like the wagon or whatever that comes out. I thought that was kind of cool just to see it in person because I've seen it on TV, so that was just cool to see in person.
Yeah.
The cannon was kind of cool. But my favorite thing definitely was like that. The one thing I noticed, and we've talked about this, how obsessed with Texas, Oklahoma is.
Yeah, it was always.
Well, after they yell boom, like somebody yells Boomer, then they yell Sooner, and then they yell Texas, and everybody else sucks, and then they yell Tennessee, everybody else sucks.
Yep.
But it's like
you're not even
playing Texas, man. Like
I know.
And every single time they showed somebody on the big screen, they're like, yeah, and then horns down. And it's is that your thing? Is horns down, it means Oklahoma now?
I don't know. It's going to be, I guess. It's like, but yeah, it just seems like kind of silly. Like, okay, guys, like, you guys know you're not playing Texas. Like, yeah, Texas and Tennessee had the same colors, but.
Dude. And I'm just like...
it was a lot overused.
I want to know if Texas is that obsessed with Oklahoma. Because it was... I think I saw more stuff against Texas and like cheering against Texas than I did cheering against Tennessee.
Honestly, I think the most people we met were like, hey, like, welcome to Oklahoma. We're happy to have you. There was no like smack talk at all.
I've had that a lot, though.
But I think like... It wasn't just that like people were nice because everywhere we've gone to, people are always nice. I think that's because we're nice people. But it was like almost like, take it easy on us, like
I mean, I think
stuff. It's like they almost went into the game as, hey, this is going to be a very lopsided game.
For me, it was always the older people that did that, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't younger people or even like middle age. It was always the older people that are like, hey, take it easy on us and stuff. Yeah. And so I think maybe it's just like they've been around. I don't know exactly.
I don't know.
Because I didn't have one younger person say that or even like our parents' age say that. It was always older people.
Yeah.
Like grandma and grandpas that would say that.
That is a good point. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's just their.
Maybe.
Like,
and I mean, it is like in the South, the Southern like charm and like, I don't know, people are nicer down there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
for me, I know you guys kept saying like, yeah, everybody was so nice. I personally have pretty much, I feel like, felt that at most places I've gone as an away fan.
The only thing the reason why I even brought it up is I just thought it was really funny. All of us were in Tennessee gear, but Mel is obviously the biggest Tennessee fan of all of us, and they were only coming to Mel.
I have a theory about
you had a few people,
but it was away from when I wasn't with you guys.
Yeah,
people would come. Like when we went to the casino, and I had a few people come up to me, and I talked to them a few times and stuff, you know. And even like when I went down, because the bathrooms were broken in the top.
Yeah,
and I was like, gosh, do I just hold? Like I don't have to go that bad. So I ended up going all the way down, and I talked to people in the elevator and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I have a theory on that. I was thinking about that. I wonder if it's because Mel's just like, he's bigger than all of us.
Maybe.
So it's, people are, you know, like, it's like a magnet. Like, people are definitely drawn more to, like, the bigger presence.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that's it. Like, because he's taller than all of us and everything, you know. So I'm like,
it could be.
Maybe that's why. Because I was thinking, I'm like, it's not like we weren't in Tennessee stuff. All of us were in Tennessee stuff.
Yeah.
If anybody, Steve had the most on.
Yeah, he was wearing his overalls and
and
all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
that's what. Like I had a T-shirt and a hat. Mel had a T-shirt and a hat. You had a T-shirt. You didn't have. You had the Nuggets hat.
I had this hat. So.
But you know, and so that's where. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, that is a possibility. I just thought it was really funny. It was really convenient.
Mm-hmm.
I think. If you were going to talk to anybody, it should be Mel.
I mean, I'm glad they did because
me too.
A couple of times when I did talk to people, they were talking to me about some players, and thankfully I knew some of them. But I'm like, man, if they would have said some other ones, I
don't know.
But all right, so we've been to a lot of different stadiums, like we were just saying. Do you think is there something specific about this stadium that kind of like you're like, oh, that was pretty cool about it, or was it kind of I don't know.
I would say it was cool. You got to kind of like walk through campus a little bit, and you could see like the stadiums out front of all the Heisman winners.
I wish we would have. I probably should have just done it because I was fine. You know, I wish I would have walked around the stadium as like a whole because we only saw a couple of the Heisman winners, and we didn't even really get to see them that much and stuff. So I kind of wish we would have done that.
I mean, that's something that's pretty cool just because we in Colorado don't really have that. Mm-hmm. We don't have that history. We don't have those success figures.
I mean, back in like the 80s, 90s, CU was pretty good. Like, especially early.
But
I think we have a couple Heisman winners.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. But I don't think there's statues. Yeah. Not that I know of, there's not statues.
It just seemed like they were expressing their history a lot more than what I've seen at Colorado and
it could be just because like where we walked to, you know. I mean, CU could have that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It felt like there was more tailgating.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of cool.
There was some extravagant tailgating too.
Oh my gosh. It was there was some that had 75-inch TVs.
Yep. Multiple 75-inch
huge
TVs.
Tents. It's just like 30, 40 chairs. They had those cocktail tables that you could stand at, and it was just like
it made you kind of want to be like, hey, let's just go hang out there.
Exactly. And we were saying, I'm sure some of those people don't even go to the game. They just tailgate, and because you have to pick it all up. But I don't know. We
were saying, like, I wonder how you even carry that, because you got to carry this big 75-inch TV, and parking was not close. Mm-hmm. I know we're both.
Some of those might have been close. Like, I'm sure there was closer that you could have parking passes and different. So they could have been.
And we also parked
We parked for free, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I could not believe that. Yeah. It was about a mile away from the actual
And even
stadium.
like that was fun because you got to walk by Love's Field where they play women's softball. And so even that was cool. Like, you couldn't get to really see, but you can peer in, and the scoreboard was really cool. It was in the shape of Oklahoma, the state.
The one thing, so after the game, we walked by like the club level, kind of like, I guess it was kind of club level. It was on the south side of the stadium, in the end zone. And somebody said that they renovated that a few years ago. But there's some suites there. But then there's like these places where it looks like you could get like 4 seats with like a little TV. It was kind of cool that anybody could. That was cool. I thought the coolest part of the stadium by far was the concessions. And I know that's weird, but so you walk into the stadium and the very big concourses. Yeah. Like they were very wide, so like there was a lot of people and stuff.
Yep.
The concessions were in the middle. And so you could go on either side of like you could see, so I could be standing here and Kyle could be standing there and we're both ordering and the concession is in the middle. Yeah. I thought that was such a great idea.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Because I mean, we waited upstairs, and it was a little different upstairs. They didn't have that. They were definitely smaller upstairs. Yeah. Even when I walked down, I never saw that long of a wait.
Yeah.
Because you're like doubling up on it and stuff. And I thought that was very cool. I think more stadiums honestly should try to do that.
Yeah.
You need a pretty big concourse, but for example, I think the way Coors Field, like you just, obviously they're not going to because it's not built like that. But it's like, all right, if you could make the concourse out more, like where the food is, you could put that. Like it would be something like that in the middle. And so I thought that was actually extremely cool. That was my favorite part of the stadium.
Honestly, you never really think of that. You always just think of concourses smacked up against the wall. Everybody walks in between that, and you're fighting with the people in line and
walking,
and so it was pretty clever for them to do that.
I've never seen that anywhere. I've been to, honestly, out of everything, I've probably been to 20 to 25 different stadiums, baseball, basketball, hockey, football, etc. And I've never seen anything like that, and I thought that was actually a really cool thing. Which is funny. That was my favorite part of the stadium.
You always do bring up the food.
I do.
Food is very important to you.
Yeah. Maybe that's why. Maybe it was the food. We didn't even get anything down there. We got a hot dog and a pretzel. It was like there was nothing special, and it looked like we should have probably got food when we were downstairs because it looked like there was some really good stuff. There were some barbecue places that looked really good and everything. Speaking of food and barbecue. So we stopped at this place. I don't even know what it was called. Do you remember?
No.
Dang it.
I don't.
We stopped at this place that Steve really wanted to go to. They do like competitions and stuff. His brother, also Steve's brother, does like cooking competitions, smoking competitions and stuff. And so these people also go. Well, they have a restaurant in Oklahoma, so Steve's like, we want to go. So we ended up getting this thing. It was called like the Judge's Choice or something.
Yeah,
so
Judge's
it was,
Tray. Yeah.
We got to pick 2 sides. So we picked cream corn, mac and cheese, and then it came with a cornbread, chips, and then the meats we got were sausage, brisket, pulled pork, chicken, and there's one other one.
Ribs.
Ribs.
There's ribs. Yeah.
Okay. I love all of this.
Yeah.
Every single thing. My very favorite thing, which I actually didn't, I was not saying to order this at first. I was going to say baked beans, but the cream corn, man.
Yes.
I'm still thinking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I agree. I was the same. I asked not to do the baked beans, though. I'm not really a bean guy.
That's what you were like, no, I'm not a bean guy. Because they said they're like, award-winning famous beans. So I'm like, all right, let's try those.
I remember like Steve's brother did say the cream corn was really good. And so we tried it and I agree. It was amazing. It was like you just wanted to keep on eating that. And you
instead of the meat.
I didn't want to share with you guys.
That's what I honestly like wanted to just give me like a side of that,
full bowl of that, please.
And I'm usually like all about the mac and stuff. It was okay. It was nothing special. I wish we would have gotten 2 creamed corn.
I think, yeah.
You know?
I would have been fine with that. The mac and cheese was really good, but mac and cheese I feel like is always good. I didn't think
the mac and cheese actually was that good there.
I think it was like a normal mac and cheese.
I think I could make that upstairs right now.
Mac and cheese to me is always like a 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, I always like mac and cheese, but there's some that are it's like, wow, this is good, you know? And then the meats, usually I'm all about brisket. Mm-hmm. Like that's probably my top, maybe then the like ribs probably. Yeah. The pulled pork and the chicken were amazing. Yeah. And the sausage, I don't know if any of us really like
my 2 favorites were the pulled pork, and I actually liked the ribs.
I didn't mind the ribs, but I would have put the chicken above the ribs for sure. You know, usually ribs are like, oh, that's my
You could definitely tell like they made the chicken with a rub that was like really well.
Yeah, that was a very good season. Good. But yeah, usually the ribs are my top 2 at least. Yeah. And it definitely wasn't this time. The pulled pork was amazing, but yeah, I got to keep going back to the creamed corn. So if you ever go, we'll try to figure out what it was called.
Yeah, I'll try to put it in the comments. Or if anybody
really wants to know, we will figure it out. I don't want to search my phone because I don't
even know what I would search for, honestly.
It's just in our like thread between us, like us 4 or whatever. But I don't want to really.
I'll put it when I'm editing and I post it tomorrow. I'll try to find the name of it. And we can.
And the kettle chips too. They were. I feel like I'm like one of the only ones. Like I know you had a couple and stuff.
I'm not a huge fan of.
I think I ate like all the kettle chips. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was a very fun trip.
And then like Bricktown. So we ended up going to Bricktown. Sorry, we're kind of going all Oklahoma, this time. Like there's a lot of other stuff that happened in sports, but we wanted to talk about this.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever been to San Antonio, even if you haven't, you pretty much know what the Riverwalk is.
Yes.
They have this place in Oklahoma, and it's in the city, but it's not like in between like all of like the skyscrapers and stuff like that. Yeah. It's right outside. Like
I would say like you have the business district like right here in Bricktown.
It's like across the street, pretty much. Yep.
It was a 10-minute walk.
Yeah, if that, honestly. Yep. So we went there, and it was pretty much like the Riverwalk in Texas, but it was obviously smaller. And there wasn't restaurants like right on it. Like there was some, but a lot of them you had to like walk up to the next level, but you could see them all
walk
from
up to like the street level.
Mm-hmm. But like they had just different decks and different stuff like that. That was really cool. I'm so glad we did that. We played putt. We played laser tag. Mel. So there's this big laser tag 2-story.
It's probably the most complex laser tag I've ever done.
Well, and the reason why we did, because we're like, oh, we should have played laser tag instead of putt. Yeah. And I can't remember, it was Mel or Steve, like, oh, if you get a hole-in-one first try or whatever on the last hole, you get free laser tag.
Yep.
And so we probably weren't going to do it. Then I hit it. I got it. And I'm like, I'm going to do it,
Yeah.
And then Kyle, it's supposed to be one hit.
Hey.
One hit. First
I didn't see that.
I didn't see Kyle. I thought looked. I was talking to the guy. Told him that I got a free one. Looked back, and Kyle got it. Well, an hour or 2 later, he's like, "Yeah, I was technically on my second one because it rolled back."
Yeah, because there was like I forget what it was. There was it was on a hill. And it was like a beaver or something.
Yeah,
and you hit the beaver.
Yeah, and so technically Kyle shouldn't have gotten a free one.
But I don't know. The guy walked away, and then it was an awesome hit.
Well, and I didn't even ask you. I was like, "Oh, hey, he got one too." Yeah. So you just went along with it. So we ended up getting free.
I honestly did not see that it was supposed to be the first one.
Yeah.
Until you said something.
This is a huge sign, but it's all good.
I'm not. Really
but then we ended up going over to the laser tag. And it was, like Kyle said, the most complex laser. There were so many rules. I looked over at Kyle.
The instructions took like 5 minutes.
Yeah. There was like a whole video, and I looked at Kyle. I'm like,
there's like different strategies you can do. And
it's like you can hit the asteroids, but if somebody hits all of them, then you have to go hit the truck. Then if you've hit the truck, you have to hit the alien. If you hit both of them before getting hit, you get 10,000.
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh my
complex.
gosh. And then we had like
a bunch of
18 or 19 people, I think, in there. So it was crazy. And we were definitely the oldest ones for sure.
Yeah. By far.
Then everybody was like, yeah, let's do free for all instead of teams. And so we're like, oh man. Like, I don't know what's going on. And so we didn't do the greatest. I took 7th. I think you said you took 12th or 13th.
I took 10th, I think.
Okay.
Mel
got 15th, and then Steve got dead last. It's just like, but it was still fun. We had a good time. But Mel, he like comes over to us. He's like, dude, I like ate it. I'm like, did somebody like hit you or something? Like, were you running? He's like, no, I turned around. It's like,
man, oh my God, it was funny.
So you literally turned around.
Sorry, Mel, when you listen.
He doesn't listen anymore. No.
Yeah, his knee was all scraped up, and we were making fun of him a little bit the whole rest of the trip. Yeah. So
it was pretty funny. But overall, all in all, it was such a fun trip. I mean, I know me and you love going on trips to different cities, and it was tough. It was weird being away from Megan and Natalie because they've came as of late, especially with Megan since I've been with her, and so it was kind of weird. But it was kind of just a little boys trip, and
it was fun.
It was fun. We had a good time.
But yeah, Oklahoma, you don't really think of it as a fun destination or top destination, but I highly recommend it if you're ever wanting a quick trip. And
there were some other trips too, or things too, like the OKC bombing memorial. That would have been cool. I've seen it before, but now they have a museum and stuff.
I think like 1 or 2 days late for going to a minor league game.
Yeah, the baseball.
Really cool.
Because they have the AAA.
The Dodgers AAA team, I think, is there.
And that's right off of Brick City too, or Bricktown. Yeah. And so we looked at the stadium.
But there's tons of stuff to do.
I don't know if I would be like, oh man, I have to go to Oklahoma City, but it was more fun than I thought it would be. Yeah. Like the stuff we did, like that Bricktown was really cool. I'm just so glad we found that, and there was still stuff down there that we could have done. But a couple other things I do want to just mention. This Georgia Alabama last night was insane.
Man, what a game!
That was crazy because Georgia was down
28-0.
Yeah. Yep. And so it was like, oh, this is game. Well, they ended up taking the lead 33 or something, 34.
And then the very next play, Alabama answered with a touchdown. Of their own.
Yep. So I wanted to show you or tell you this stat. So because I know we were pretty much talking about that, but all right. Since 2021, Georgia is 45-3.
Yep.
Did you see this?
I did see it on ESPN, like leading
up
to it.
All three losses have been to Bama. They've only lost to Bama since 2021.
I thought it was
That's insane.
It was kind of surprising to me, Alabama jumping all the way up to 1.
Me too, especially because Texas.
Texas did not lose.
It sounds like they had a rough start, but they still took care of business, and it wasn't close.
I guess like the only thing is because it wasn't a top 25 team.
Maybe,
but. I thought that was kind of...
I thought Bama should have went to 2, but I thought Texas
I think they should have just swapped. They should have just been...
Georgia
Alabama was
dropped
4,
to 4.
Georgia was 2, and then they should have just swapped.
Flipped. Yeah.
But I'm not a playoff NCAA person, but...
Yep. I don't know. Who cares?
If I was, I would put CU number 1. So
yeah, they did get 1 vote this week.
Yes.
They get 1 vote. They're looking great. They're playing hot, so they got 1 vote, so... We're trending up. They're going to play K-State in 2 weeks. EMA, suck it. Steve is EMA, and
wins.
I just don't want to hear Steven if CU wins. Or if CU loses. I'm praying every single night that CU beats K-State because Steve will be unbearable.
He will.
Because he'll be like, this is why I told you they can't hang it in the Big 12. Yep. And I know Steve's not listening either because he says he listens to some and then he does it and stuff. So he
bring
probably
up Prime and how he
It's just
we won't even get into it. But
in 2 weeks we'll talk about it more when CU wins.
Yeah.
But let's go into our game picks. That was a lot of Oklahoma. Like I said, there's a big trade in the NBA that just happened with Karl Anthony Towns. But we'll get into that more season's in about a month too.
Yep.
So we'll talk about
Yep.
that more. You know, we love talking about NBA.
Oh, yeah.
So NHL is coming up as well. Next week we'll
Yeah.
probably talk more about them,
Yep.
just because 10 days away, I think, from today. From
starts
opening,
on the 4th.
right? The very first?
Yeah, the first game's on the 4th. That's a Thursday.
That's like this Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 10 days till our home opener, maybe?
I don't know.
I don't know. I saw
Maybe.
10, but that was, I guess, a couple days ago too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so our game picks, I can't even remember the team, so I'll let you
we'll start WNBA. They're all
Okay,
going to be
I know those.
Tuesday, by the way. Well, technically. So
We're doing
start
series.
WNBA.
We're doing series on all 3 picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like they're starting Tuesday, but they might not even be finished by the next one. So we're doing the full series.
MLB,
2
you got
MLBs.
Detroit Tigers versus the Houston Astros, and because of the new or newer MLB schedule with playoffs, all 3 games will be in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing to think of. But Detroit is making its first playoff appearance, I want to say, since like 2006 or something
Really?
like that. It's been a long time for Detroit.
That long?
It's been a long time.
Almost 20 years? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know. No, you're good.
I could be wrong, but I want to say I saw 2006
It'd be hilarious
somewhere.
if they made it last year or something.
But, no, I know they
You
didn't.
sure it's
make
not
it last year.
2016? That sounds more
No, I think that's the Royals.
interesting. I
think the
have no
Royals
idea,
haven't
so
made it since 2016.
We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I'll put that.
You want to do that one first then? Let's just do that first.
We'll do that one first. Do you want me to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
Just because, I don't know, just from how much postseason success Houston has. This was even before that, like you said, that I think, if I remember correctly, Houston's kind of been hot the last month or so as well.
Not as hot as Detroit.
But yeah, well, Detroit has been too. But I think being at home in Houston, I think that's going to play a big favorite too, especially with the postseason experience. Yep. So I'm going to go Houston wins that one.
I also agree, not because of who's coming in hot, because honestly think yes, that matters, but I think when you get into postseason, it's all about pitching. I think if you can get solid starts from your starting pitchers, then you get a really good chance to win. And I think Detroit really only has Tariq Skubal, and who probably
That's
should.
That's a fake name. Don't even say that's guy.
What do you mean? That is how he
is. That his name?
Yes.
Skubal?
Skubal, yes.
That's not a fake person.
He's one of the favorites to win the AL Cy Young
See, this
year.
right here tells you guys I don't watch that much baseball.
I can't believe you've never heard of him. Yes.
Okay.
I can't believe you've never heard of him.
Sorry,
but
I thought he was making stuff up, guys.
He really is only Detroit's really good pitcher. Everybody else they can have good days, but not really. And then Houston, they got a lot better pitching. So that, with being at home, Houston won the series in the regular season 4-2. So yeah, I'm going Houston as well. I'm really hoping Detroit wins 1 or 2 games, but I don't see it happening versus Houston.
So we're saying Houston. Both of us are
going Houston.
All right, second one.
Second one, you got the Kansas City Royals versus the Baltimore Orioles. Again, Baltimore Orioles have the better seed, so all 3 games are going to be at Baltimore.
I'll go first again,
okay?
Because you can talk more about it and stuff.
Yep.
I know Gunnar Henderson's been having a great. I know Bobby Witt Jr. too for KC has been playing great too. I feel like I've heard more about Baltimore and the players and just as a whole, not just necessarily 1 or 2 players. I've heard a lot about Baltimore, and again with being at home, I think that's huge. At all 3 games, I think that's massive. So I'm going to go Baltimore.
I am also going Baltimore, but again, for different reasons. So the last one, I said pitching is going to win this series. This one, it's going to be hitting. I do think Kansas City has a little bit better pitching than Baltimore. Baltimore has Corbin Burns, who was a Cy Young winner in Milwaukee a couple of years ago, but he is good. But other than that, Baltimore doesn't really have amazing starters. They tried to get some good ones at the deadline. Hasn't really panned out, but their offense is incredible. I love watching Baltimore games because every single extra base hit, it's like splash. They have a splash zone in the outfield, cool. And they spray the fans with like a hose, and then the Baltimore players come in and drink like water from a hose as well.
Really?
So it's like it's super fun. The crowd gets super into it. So I think this series is going to be a little bit closer because, like I said, I think Kansas City does have, I think, a little bit better pitching, but Baltimore, they have a lot better hitting. So, and I think it's a big margin. I mean, yeah, you said like Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez for Kansas City, but pretty much 1 through 9 on Baltimore is a good bat. So that's who I'm going with.
And then the other one, game 1 was actually tonight, and it was tied at 98 when we started doing this. So we don't know who won. There was like 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. It was WNBA, Connecticut Sun, and the Minnesota Lynx. That's the 2-3 seed. This is to go to the finals. Mm-hmm. You want to go or you want me to?
I'll go because I have a few things that I want to bring up about it.
So we do not know who won this game. Just a heads up, we don't know who won this game.
Our game will be in Minnesota, by the way. But so the few things I wanted to bring up.
So it's the first 2 games, or no, they have 5.
Yeah.
So it's 2-2-1.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking the first round.
So this series, they played 3 times in the regular series. Connecticut won 2-1, but the combined winning margin for those 3 games was 6 points.
Yeah.
It was extremely close. Mm-hmm. Watching the game before we started recording was super close. But I'm going to go Connecticut. I think team ball is a lot more important, especially come playoffs. Definitely seems like WNBA makes that more important, a lot more important than NBA per se. So I'm going Connecticut. I think they have a lot more weapons that they can utilize. So yeah, I'm going Connecticut.
I'm going to too. So we're gonna. I know we're gonna pick all 3. I was hoping you'd pick the Lynx. Yeah. My biggest thing is Alyssa Thomas for Connecticut. I think she's the best player in the series.
I agree. She can do it all.
Exactly. She's killed it in the first round. She was playing good tonight. Like I said, we don't know how the last couple of minutes ended up going. I think it's going to be a close series, but I honestly could still see Connecticut sweeping them. Yeah. But I could see it being a 5-point win each time or 3-point or something like it come down to the last 30 seconds. I think it's going to be less than
that. I think you're going to see some buzzer beaters.
Yeah, and so I think Connecticut, I have not been high on the Lynx, honestly, all year. I know they're the number 2 seed. We've talked about them a little bit before. They have a good team ball as well. And like you said, I think all WNBA kind of does that. I just don't think they can – I honestly don't think they can hang with the Liberty, the Sun, or the Aces.
Yeah.
I think those 3 are the top 3. Even though the Lynx were number 2, I think they're kind of like OKC from last year, the Thunder from last year. Yeah, they were the number 1 seed.
But they
weren't the top team in the West.
Yeah.
I don't even think they were the 2nd or 3rd top team, Yeah. And so I think that's kind of how it was. I would put them at the 4th probably.
Yeah.
But I think those top 3 are a lot higher than the next ones. And
I was really hoping you were going to go Minnesota, but
we finally tallied our scores back up too. And I'm up by 1. So we've kind of gone back and forth. I think Kyle was up by 3. Then I think I went up by 3.
Yeah, it's been back and forth. We started off horribly at the start of 2024.
Yep.
We started off horribly. We were both
30-40%.
Yeah, but now
we've crawled our way back.
We're both over 58 or 50%.
We're at 59%.
But yeah,
58 and 57. So especially how it started, we're definitely doing a lot better than we did before. Yep. But yeah, so that's all we got. Hopefully you guys liked this Oklahoma kind of pod this time. I know it's a week late, but we still had a blast. We had to talk about it. We'll get more into NBA, NFL, NHL.
Yeah,
Broncos won today. Bo Nix killing it.
Boo.
For his first touchdown today. I had to say that. But hopefully you guys liked this one, and we're doing some different stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoy it.
But yeah.
We are going to have a guest on. I just need to figure out schedule with him.
Yep.
We have talked to him. He wants to do it, and so we just kind of got to figure out some schedule.
But yeah, let us know with NBA and NHL coming up if you guys want us to touch on stuff or
even NFL or anything.
Yeah,
like
NFL. Like we're down to do everything. We love.
But today I feel like half the time we talked about not even like
we
sports.
We honestly talked about food a lot. Yeah. We always do.
Maybe we should switch it to a pod, like
a food podcast.
Food pod. I could probably talk about that just as much.
Probably, me too.
But that's all we got. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you later, alligators.
Peace.